You ever wonder how a website just knows your password is correct, like instantly? Well, the magic behind that all starts with a few simple but seriously powerful tools in Python. And in this explainer, we're going to break down how Python builds these smart, automated decisions right from the very beginning.
So what's really going on there? At its heart, that login check is a data problem. The system's got this massive list of usernames and passwords, and it has to find a match for your specific entry, and it's got to do it in the blink of an eye. So let's see how Python tackles this. Okay, so first things first, we need a place to put all this information. You've got to have a place to store all that info, right? Think of it like a digital filing cabinet. And Python has the perfect container for this job, one that's super simple to create and incredibly flexible.
And that container, it's called a list. Creating one is honestly as easy as it looks. You just wrap your items in square brackets. That's it. In this case, we've got a list of names. And boom, just like that, you have a single organized container holding all your related data.
All right, so we've got our data tucked away in a list. Now what? I mean, how do we actually do something with each item in there? How do we check every single username without writing the same bit of code over and over and over again? Well, this is where the real magic, the automation, kicks in.
The answer? It's something called a for loop. Now, don't let the simple name fool you. This thing is a workhorse. It's basically telling Python, hey, for every single name you find in that list, I want you to print it out. It's so clean, it almost reads like plain English, which is one of the things people absolutely love about Python.
And this right here, this slide shows you exactly why people love Python. On the left, you've got the old school way. It's kind of clunky, right? A mess of counters and checks. But then you look at the right. That's the Python way. All that complexity just, poof, it vanishes, boiled down to one single intuitive command.
And look, this isn't just about being lazy and typing less. It gets to the very heart of Python's philosophy, making code that's simple, logical, and readable. The whole point is that anyone, literally anyone, should be able to look at this code and just get what it's trying to do.
But hold on. What if we could make our code even slicker? Well, Python takes this whole idea of elegance and cranks it up to 11. There's this feature. It's like a genuine superpower for working with lists. I'm not kidding.
It's called a list comprehension, and it lets you build a brand new list in just one super readable line. Check out how it works. You say what you want to do first, that's the operation, and then you say where the items are coming from. That's the loop. It kind of flips the logic around, but in a way that makes total sense.
And there you go. That's the result. With that one little line of code, we've just generated a whole list of the first 10 square numbers. How cool is that? No messy setup, no extra lines, just a direct, clear instruction that gives you a really powerful result.
Okay, so we know how to store stuff in lists, we know how to loop through them efficiently. Let's put these building blocks together and actually solve that original login problem we started with.
You know, the logic behind our login system is actually really straightforward. We're going to use the exact same tools we just talked about. We'll start with our data, get some input from the user, and then just loop through our records to see if we can find a match. Let's build it. First up, we need our little database. And yep, you guessed it, it's a list. But look closely. See how each item inside is a pair of data? It's a username bundled with its password. That structure is super important for keeping our related info together. All right, now for the check itself. We use our trusty for loop to go through each pair in the database. And inside that loop, a simple if statement does all the work. It asks, does the username match and does the password match? If they both do, it prints valid user and we're done.
And just like that, it works. When the correct credentials go in, our simple system confirms the match. It's pretty amazing, right? With just a handful of clear, readable Python code, we've built a working authentication system completely from scratch.
Now, let's pause for a second. You might have noticed those round brackets inside our database list. That was totally intentional. We weren't using another list. We were using a different, but very, very important type of data container.
This is called a tuple. It's a lot like a list, but it has one huge critical difference. It's immutable. And that's just a fancy word that means once you create it, you can't change it, ever.
So, what's the big deal? Well, it's all about picking the right tool for the job. You use a list with its square brackets when you have a collection of items that might need to change. But you use a tuple with its round brackets for data that should remain constant and protected, like a user's login info.
And Python is really serious about this rule.
If you even try to modify something inside a tuple, the program will just stop you in your tracks and give you an error. This is a safety feature. It prevents you from accidentally messing with data that should never, ever change.
So, let's do a quick recap. Lists with the square brackets are your go-to for flexible data you need to modify. For loops are the simple, readable way to work with every single item in a sequence. List comprehensions are your superpower for creating new lists concisely. And tuples with the wrong brackets are for locking down data that must remain constant.
You know, what we've built here is way more than just a login checker. It's a fundamental pattern. This simple loop, checking items in a list, is the foundation for everything from filtering your spam emails to finding the best price on a shopping site. Now that you see the pattern, what other kinds of intelligent decisions could you automate?